There, are you one of the chosen? My name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today's topic is the chosen. The chooser that we all have within us is called an ego. And the ego, although some systems will teach you to get rid of it, is actually where your self-esteem comes from. The ego is the thing that is labeling life. I like that, I don't like that, I want to go towards that, it's safe, I want to get away from that, it feels treacherous or whatever. So your ego does serve you. It's just that it has a tendency to be like a tyrannical dictator and take over the system, labeling and judging things instead of discerning. Fire's hot, don't stick your hand in it, but it doesn't make fire bad, right? The ego tends to flip from discernment into judgment. And I don't think that judgment is ever an evolved thing or spiritual thing to be doing. I think it's a human thing to be doing. I'm not going to vilify it. I do it. But it's never my aim to do it. And it's always my aim to clean it up if I do it, or correct it, or apologize, to self or others, or pray for people if I've done it. Because to judge something is usually done in prejudice. Prejudice is where we prejudge something or judge something before we have knowledge of it. And really, how much can you know any person? How much do you really know every person in your life? How well do they know you? Do you feel known and seen and heard by all the people in the river of your life? Right? So the ego's job is to label things. It goes, this is good, that is bad. I want to go towards that. I want to go away from this. But it tends to, instead of just discerning, this is for me, that is not for me, it goes, that's evil because it's not for me. As I've gotten older, I've had periods where I was like, no, I'm polyamorous, and now I'm very monogamous and loyal. If I go to date someone and they're like, I'm polyamorous, I don't think they're bad even at all, not even 0%. I think we're just different. And that is how life itself actually expresses. The life that is expressed, if we're talking about having a creator, for example, that has a chosen people down here, the life that is present is extremely diverse. So if we're talking about a god, talking about a goddess, talking about a source energy, talking about a divine energy, and considering this concept of being chosen, we can see that the ego loves to be chosen. What the ego denies, it will project. So if there's anything dark or shadowy in myself that I don't like, I'll project it onto you and be like, I'm not a jerk, you're a jerk. And so that's, Carl Jung talked about doing shadow integration, where we face those aspects of the self that we are in denial about or ignoring that are actually parts that we could judge of ourselves, but that require attention so that we might evolve beyond those parts of ourselves that are not actually evolving, like being a liar or being, any untoward ways of being. And so rather than having the ego cast it onto others, we actually do our individual work. Thank you, Carl Jung. However, the ego likes to be chosen, likes to be picked, likes to be loved, likes to be wanted, likes to be the one. And so I find it interesting that so many religions across the globe think they are chosen. It's like, well, clearly God's confused on a global sense. They're chosen, how special everybody is. But secondly, that frequency is very ego-based, not spirit-based. Spirit isn't choosing, you're cool, I like you, you're not cool, I don't like you. The spirit of love, agape, unconditional love, the highest spiritual expression that is available to all beings, is loving unconditionally. It doesn't have conditions under which it withdraws love. This is often how a source or creator is defined, and yet there's this egoic personification of the divine often present in the field, stating that a creator that put the Fibonacci sequence, sacred geometry, all of this brilliant, intelligent math back of the universe, that same creator that put all this math that consistently adds up went, I made everything, but most of it I don't like. There's a small group that follows, or this XYZ, so many millions or billions of people that follow this one religion, and I like them the best. The rest of you guys, I didn't do a good job. I'm a fallible God. I got it wrong. And so I find it interesting when we start to get into concepts and constructs of being chosen. I'm not here to vilify. If you consider yourself one of the chosen based on your religious faith tradition, I'm not judging you at all. What I'm asking almost always for myself and others to do is to pay attention, to actively select, to choose through knowledge, through knowing the self, through knowing one's belief, to question. To truly be a knower, you would question everything. And you would study. And so if you know, very well, if you have a faith tradition, your faith tradition, then tell me this, does your faith tradition have a hell? If it has a hell, did your God know it would have a fallen angel? And is your God powerful enough to convert the fallen angel or to prevent a hell from occurring? Or is hell more powerful than your God? And if your God is more powerful than the devil or hell, why would your God allow souls to be tormented for all time that are souls that it created that are missing the mark because it expected you to do something and get it right, get it perfect, appease the ego? So I'm not here to correct anyone's concept, anyone's construct. I often say, I created Heather Feather, lover or lumper. This is the creature I am. I have my own evolution, shadow integration work to do, and I have my own love and light and agape to share in this world, and may I do that more often. However, what I am always asking is, how is the concept of chosen presencing itself in your life? Are you chosen because you're so hip and you're like so VIP, which is like so the ego, and you're still going to rot off the bone or turn to ash like the rest of us flesh sacks? You still fart like everyone else, you know? Do you think you're chosen because you feel you're special and superior in your beliefs, in your thoughts, in your body, in your... Okay, all of that comes from the very lowly status of the ego that is just our label system. And if you truly have self-esteem, you never need to put anyone underneath you. True confidence, true self-esteem, true self-love is the ability to recognize value. And once we're able to recognize it in the self, we're able to recognize it in others. So if you believe you are above anyone or below, which is, you know, self-esteem, you can turn the volume to 0 and play lowly worm, which is a myopic, self-absorbed thing to do. Heather's done that with a lot of her life. I was just like, I'm a lowly worm. And I was obviously being self-obsessed with my worthlessness. There are those that turn it to 100, something I haven't done, where they're so self-important and they're so I'm too cool for you, blah, 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 you know? And it's like, okay, fart sack. Okay, cool. Take you and your fart sack away from me. You're right, you know? But they're still not better than you. No matter what they do, no matter what they achieve, no matter what their status, title, all of those things, the labels belong to the ego, and all of those things are ego-appeasing things, and the ego is well below the heart of the spirit of the light of love. And so, are you chosen because you're cool? Not cool, frankly. Sorry to break it to you, but the coolest thing you can do is be loving and accepting and understanding. It's the coolest thing anyone's ever done to me, and it's the coolest thing I've ever done, is to be loving, understanding, compassionate, receiving, receptive, open, you know? Like, I can't think of anything cooler you could do. There's nothing so cool that you can wear, or that you can... There's nothing cooler than being love, right? And so if I'm capable of having moments of agape and having moments of unconditional love, if I'm capable of loving humanity, which I am and often do, then why would my creator have less of that and need to play favorites? Why would my creator need to be so fallible that it got the job wrong and it needs little soldiers to go and correct the error that it made? Why would the creator need us to save one another from a concept of something that it allowed to be created and it does not rectify? Does it not care? Is it sociopathic? Does your creator not care if you are tormented for all time, which is completely psychopathic and malicious, for not making the right decision in a 100-year lifespan? What I'm asking today is there any way you are choosing to play chosen to be above? Are you chosen spiritually? And therefore, because you're Christian and chosen, you're above your Muslim faith tradition practitioner friend? A Muslim faith practitioner friend, if they are following their philosophy, prays to their God to the east 5 times a day. They wash themselves and think of God. Then when they eat their food, they think of God and are grateful for it, right? So it's interesting to me that on any level spiritually, we would believe we can be above, superior, separate from any other being. If there's any way that you're doing that, can you consider how it's possible that maybe you and everyone you've ever seen or known is chosen and worthy of love? You can always subscribe to Rare Bird Medicine on YouTube, like and comment there. Heather Feather always loves your thoughts. Amun.